Okay, this is actually part one, the facts of the Epstein case. And if you, I editorialize, I'm going to editorialize. I'm reading this word for word. This is an article by Blanche Cook, as you can see right here. So Epstein involves at least two sets of atrocities. One, Epstein's violation of his victims, and two, the prosecutor's violation of Epstein's victims. For decades, Epstein raped children with the assistance of male and female co-conspirators and directed some of his co-conspirators to participate in the rapes. As part of his sex trafficking ring, Epstein provided children to others for both male and female. Compounding the trauma Epstein's victims experienced, federal prosecutors colluded with Epstein's attorneys to violate the victims' rights under the Crime Victims' Rights Act. This part proceeds in three sections. A brief background leading up to the prosecutorial failure. B, a general background regarding Epstein and his prosecution. And C, the facts specific to the collusion between federal prosecutors and Epstein's defense team. So, the background leading to prosecutorial complicity. The story of Jeffrey Epstein is a labyrinth of ruling class white heteropatriarchal pathology and power. While Epstein was alive, he amassed a fortune and used it to sex traffic scores of girls, many of whom were poor and under the age of 18. From 1999 to 2007, he sexually abused girls in the sex trafficking ring that spanned the globe, including his opulent estates in Palm Beach, Florida, New York City, Paris, France, and Little St. James, his private island in the Virgin Islands. Epstein's intimate circle of power brokers included former President Donald Trump, former President Bill Clinton, and President and Prince Andrew, Duke of York. Citing his little black book of celebrities, politicians, Pulitzer Prize winners, and celebrity lawyers, commentators observed that he brought a trophy hunter's zeal to his collection of scientists and politicians. Trump famously quipped that Epstein is a terrific guy who likes beautiful women as much as I do. Many of them are on the younger side. We all remember that. Epstein, a college dropout, briefly taught math at the prestigious Dalton School in Manhattan and then worked at Bear Stearns, a powerful Wall Street investment bank. Epstein marketed himself as a tax expert with a gift for devising investment schemes. As he amassed a fortune, Epstein purchased the largest private residence in Manhattan, homes in Paris and in Miami, and the entire island of Little St. James. Despite his humble origins as the son of a city parks department employee, Epstein acquired the favor of rich and powerful white heteropatriarchs. Within years of meeting Epstein, billionaire Leslie H. Wexner, chief executive of L Brands, the parent company of Victoria's Secret, The Limited, and Bath and Body Works, handed Epstein sweeping powers over his finances, philanthropy, and private life. Wexner, Epstein's only known major client, authorized Epstein to borrow money on his behalf, sign his tax returns, hire employees, and buy and sell properties. Over several years, Epstein acquired a New York mansion, a private plane, and a luxury estate in Ohio, valued at roughly $100 million, that Wexner or his companies had previously owned. Like many in Epstein's charmed circle, Wexner denied any knowledge of Epstein's child molestation. Courtney Wild, whom Epstein raped when she was 14 years old, described Epstein's modus operandi as follows. Jeffrey preyed on girls who were in bad way, girls who were basically homeless. He went after girls who he thought no one would listen to, and he was right. Before Epstein raped Wild, she was a captain of a cheerleading squad, played first trumpet in the band, and was an A student in middle school. After Epstein, she became a drug-dependent stripper and an inmate in a Florida prison. Wild served 3 years for a drug-related charge, over twice as long as the 13 months Epstein served for children. Wild stated that Epstein preferred girls who were white, prepubescent, and easy to manipulate. By the time Wild was 16, she alone had delivered 70 to 80 14 and 15-year-old girls to Epstein. In 2008, the FBI identified at least 30 victims of Epstein's sexual predation. As a result, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of Florida prepared an 82-page prosecution memorandum and a 52-page indictment against Epstein that included 60 potential criminal counts of sexual misconduct and human trafficking. Alex Acosta, United States Attorney for the Southern District of Florida at the time, never filed an indictment. Instead, Acosta declined to prosecute Epstein federally and agreed to a plea bargain that would have been unimaginable for offenders lacking Epstein's race, wealth, and power. Acosta entered into a plea agreement with Epstein whereby Acosta forfeited federal prosecution against him in exchange for Epstein's pleading guilty to state prostitution charges against minors, an oxymoron of terms. As argued in Part 2, according to federal law, a child cannot be a prostitute because minors cannot consent to sex, let alone sex trafficking. Epstein would have had faced up to life in prison on federal charges. Instead, he received an 18-month sentence on state charges. This is B. Epstein used his power to rape children for sexual pleasure and political gain. In the summer of 1996, Epstein offered Maria Farmer, a struggling New York Academy of Art student, residence in his Ohio mansion. Eileen Guggenheim, a dean at the academy, had introduced Farmer to Epstein. Farmer alleges that she met Felon 47 in Epstein's office, where Trump ogled her until Epstein informed him that she's not for you. Farmer alleges that while she was at Epstein's Ohio estate, both Epstein and his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, sexually assaulted her. When she tried to call the police, Wexner's security guards trapped her. After she returned to New York City, Farmer reported the incident to both the police and the FBI. Less than a year after Epstein raped Farmer, Epstein attacked model Alicia Arden in his Santa Monica hotel room, where she believed she was being interviewed for a Victoria's Secret modeling job. Within a week, Arden reported the assault to police. In a civil action, Bradley Edwards, the attorney for several of Epstein's victims, and Paul G. Castle, a former federal district court judge and University of Utah law professor, filed a motion alleging that Epstein forced a teenage girl to perform sex acts with both Prince Andrew and Alan M. Dershowitz, a Harvard law professor and a member of Epstein's defense team. Prince Andrew repeatedly denied the allegations, including in a fraught BBC interview detailing his denial. With equal vehemence, Dershowitz denied, threatening to sue both Edwards and Castle until they were disbarred. The court filings revealed that Epstein sexually abused another girl when she was 15 and kept her as a sex slave from 1999 to 2002. Epstein trafficked her to other men to ingratiate himself with them and to collect information that could be used to blackmail them later, potentially protecting himself and his trafficking empire. Not sure how much of this they're going to be letting me read. Especially this part, the evidence against him. If they don't let me upload it, I'm going to have to do it just specifically on YouTube. Epstein surrounded himself with numerous other elites, including former President Bill Clinton, actor Kevin Spacey, and comedian Chris Tucker. Epstein flew all three on his private jet, named the Lolita Express, to Africa so that they could tour AIDS project sites. This was the first of several flights Clinton took on Epstein's plane. Epstein referred to his investment in aristocracy as his collection. Although he protected himself with the ruling class, in 2005, his fiefdom began to unravel. A 14-year-old girl and her parents reported Epstein to the Palm Beach Police Department. They alleged that Epstein paid her and a classmate to rape them. They also alleged that Epstein's two assistants, Haley Robson and Sarah Kellen, lured girls to his Palm Beach estate to massage him. Once in his bedroom, Epstein would direct the girls to strip and then assaulted them during and after the massage. As part of their investigation, the PBPD pulled Epstein's trash and found papers with the girls' names and cell phone numbers in his trash. I'm going to halt this for now and start part 3. This is a long part, the evidence.